everyone, welcome to this week's live. So starting this week, or was it last week? This week, starting this week, I'll be going live once a week every Tuesday at 6:30 p.m. And so the lives will alternate between the bi-weekly Q&A sessions series that I have going, and me just sharing some tips or having other people on to share their own tips and their experience of how to make parenting easier or how to enjoy parenting again. So for those of you who are watching for the very first time, I'm Denise. I am a mom of two living in Madrid, and I am also a parenting coach. So I basically just give support and accountability to other parents so that they can really become the parents that they want to be. So today we have 3 questions, and I'm just gonna jump right in, okay? So the first question is so I'm just gonna read it. My question would be how to make a decision on whether or not to become parents when you have no role models around to make an informed decision, and you imagine that you'd be happy being parents or not. Okay, so there were so many things here that I wanted to ask the person about, so I'm just gonna put them here, and I can ask them and the person can just answer on their own. In general, I think that parenting is a tough job and that it's hard enough when you want to be a parent. And so if you're on the fence of whether or not to become a parent, then it's really good to question your reasons why, right? And that's the first thing that I want to say. It's like, go deep within yourself and ask yourself 5 whys. Ask yourself, why would you want to become a parent? And then after that answer, you ask yourself another why and another why and another why until you've asked yourself at least 5 whys. And also do it for the opposite, right? Why would you not want to become a parent? And just really figure out what are your reasons, what are your thoughts and feelings behind your thoughts, right? Why do you think this way? And when you know your reasons, when your decision making process is clear, normally then it's easier for you to see what your actual answer is. And another thing that I wanted to mention was how she feels like, she mentioned when you have no role models around to make an informed decision. I really wonder, like, what do you mean by that? Maybe you don't, and maybe you have people around you, like maybe your parents or your partner's parents or whoever raised you. Maybe you don't think that they are the role models, but they are still, like for me at least, then it would also be what you wouldn't want. And so that in a way is still kind of a role model. It's just not in the direction that you want to go. And so yeah, it would be to question why you feel this need for role models, and to also think about if that's really what's keeping you from becoming a parent. Then think about where can you find these role models that you are seeking, right? Because they do exist. And be honest with yourself when it comes to, would you really be happy either way, or is that what you're saying to yourself? And so when you ask yourself the 5 whys, that also might come out, right? And maybe you're, I don't know, maybe you really would be happy either way. I know I have friends who aren't parents and they are like, they're happy. I don't think being a parent is necessary to become like a successful human being or whatever. Like, basically I don't want to feel like I'm forcing you to become a parent. I just want you to really question your thoughts and your reasons behind it, and decide for yourself if that's a reason that you're comfortable with, right? That you're confident with. And so I just want to end this with the advice that my husband actually gives to all those who are thinking about being parents, is don't overthink it, right? And when you know that you want to be a parent, it's easy to convince yourself that it's not a good time and that yeah, basically most of the time it's just that it's not a good time. We don't have stable jobs, we don't know what's happening in the world, and we just don't know what's going to happen, and you don't even know how long it might take for you to become a parent. So yeah, if you know that you want to be a parent, then don't overthink it and just go for it, and good luck. And if you're still not sure, after asking yourself these 5 whys, please feel free to reach out to me again and we can go into it more. And it doesn't have to be through this live session. Next, the next question is, my child's tantrums go on for a long time. I stay with her and express empathy, but they still feel endless. How do I know when she's releasing her emotions or just stuck in them? Yeah, okay, I get that. That happens to me a lot. I remember in the beginning when I don't think she was even 2 yet, she would have at least 30-minute long tantrums. And I would be like, okay, I'm doing all the things that I'm supposed to do. And sometimes it got to the point where I felt like she was stuck in it, and then that maybe she herself wanted to kind of get out of this release, but she didn't know how. And so my suggestion to you is to just also be more aware of, just really watching her, or she said her. So just really watching your child and seeing, sometimes in the middle she'll be distracted, she'll start looking at something on the wall or something, then kind of take your cue from there. And also just during this moment, just be that confident leader, that confident parent that you want to be in that moment, right? Where it's okay that she's feeling this way, she can express her feelings however you want, but we're not gonna sit with them and wallow in them. We're going to move forward, and she can feel the way that she feels, and that's okay, but we're still going to be moving forward. Janet Lansbury calls this her confident momentum, where it's kind of that little nudge of, yeah, you can feel what you feel, but I'm the leader in this family, and we're going to keep moving forward, and we're not going to be stuck in this moment. So next question is, we have been toilet learning with our 3-year-old. Things were going well until he visited abuela, who gave him ice cream for going to the toilet. When they went back home, she says he had a meltdown over using the toilet without ice cream. And so now she's wondering if it's something that she should let go or talk to the abuela about. Yeah. This is something where there is obviously no right answer. This is something that you have to decide for yourself. If, I guess the reason, what I would ask you is, why would you want to talk to abuela? What is it that you feel, what boundary maybe do you think was crossed? And so how would you approach this conversation with abuela, right? Another thing that might help would be, if you do decide to let it go when these things happen, something that I always tell my children is, different families have different rules, or they have different ways of doing things, right? So it can also be a simple conversation with your child, where you talk to him about how, okay, maybe in the abuela's house with the abuela, this is what happens, but in this house with me, this is what happens. So it really depends on you and what you feel is the problem here. I think she went on about it a little bit more when I replied to her, and she said it was also about the fact that they try not to give prizes in their family, and so giving the ice cream for going to the bathroom was a prize, and that was what she wasn't comfortable about, right? So again, that would also be something that you get to decide, if it's something that comes up often, if it's something that only needs to come up once and that's enough, and this is a really hard line for you, and this is something that's really important to you and your family, and that's what you want to go and talk to the abuela about. So yeah, it's really about deciding what for you matters in that moment, what are your priorities, what are your non-negotiables, and what is it that you want to be teaching your child. And yeah, that's actually one of the reasons why I like parenting, is that there is no one right way to do this. There is only the way that works for your family, and the way that works for your family might not work for another family, and that's okay, right? Because it only has to work for your family. And when it comes to thinking about, okay, what should I care about? When should I talk to the abuela? For me, I always go back to what are my family values and what are my non-negotiable long-term goals, right? What is it that I want for family? What is it that I want for my children? What I want to pass on to my children? And knowing that, then I'm able to easily make decisions about whether or not this is something that's important enough for me to speak to the abuela or whoever else about, right? So if this is something that you're interested in, if you yourself would like to discover what are your family values, what are the long-term goals that you have for your children and for your family, this is exactly what I do with parents. In the very first session, we get this really clear so that moving forward, it becomes kind of like a compass, and it just makes it easier for you to make decisions. These types of decisions become so much easier when you know in your heart what are your family values, what is it that you want for your children. So if you are wondering what that would be for you, then I highly recommend that you come and work with me. I am doing free consults, and during these consults we basically look at what it is that you want for your family, and then we talk about how you can get that. So I hope you have a very nice week. I'll see you all next week. Goodbye.